Legally Blonde itself is surprisingly accurate for a first-year law movie. My name is Becky.
I'm Ramsey.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
I'm Yelena, and today we're going to be answering your questions about law school, what it's like to be a law student.
Anything you got,
Anything
we'll
you
answer.
What did you envision yourself doing with your law degree?
I wanted to do talent rights. I have a lot of friends who are boys in bands, and growing up, I watched them sign some really not great deals, and I felt really bad for them, and I was like, they need someone on their side. To some extent, that's what I'm doing.
That is literally my same exact story. I lived in Austin, I toured with the jazz band. If I wasn't going to be a musician, I at least wanted to rep them, because they were all signing these terrible deals, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can put a stop to that.
I first envisioned myself doing entertainment law and being an advocate for musicians that maybe, weren't able to adequately represent themselves. Not sure what I'm doing now.
I was like thinking like Amal Clooney, I'm gonna save all the children. Like I really wanted like a UN approach. The first week of orientation, I remember one of our professors being like, yeah, don't do that because you have to make money first in order to get into that world.
Yeah, I think you envision yourself doing something and then maybe, it might shift into something else.
What's your most embarrassing, funniest story about law school?
It's gotta be getting cold called on when you haven't read.
Cold calling is probably one of the terrors of law school. Today, Ramsey's gonna speak on behalf of this case.
There was a bad day in constitutional law, third year. You're in the final stretch, you're not reading, and I got called on, and it was bad.
And that did happen to me. She was like, what did you think about this case? And I'm like, sorry, I'm not even gonna lie, I did not read this case. She was like, okay, that's okay. Somebody left their wallet under the seat in their car. Can they legally search for that? The police or whoever. But what do you think? And I'm like, I just can't think right now. I'm obviously hungover. I had a night. She would not let me go.
For me, it was I had to write a paper on something, and I kept doing Title IX. It was employment law, so I talked about Vanderpump Rules for like 20 pages.
I drink a lot of coffee. I've always drank a lot of coffee before going to law school as a full-time student and a bartender, so I've run on caffeine my whole life. I remember in contracts, my first semester, my first year, I pulled out my trusty handy-dandy law school coffee mug. It holds a whole pot, so it lasted me for the whole day. Took a sip, and my contracts professor looked over right at that moment and goes, Rebecca, is that a keg? It's a class of like 92 people in your first year. Everyone turns to look at me, and I was like, nope, just my coffee.
Is it anything like the movies and what we see on TV, i.e. Legally Blonde?
With Legally Blonde, yeah. It's not nearly as dramatic. It's like a long, tedious process, but some of the classroom aspects, I would say, could be similar.
Legally Blonde is one of my favorite movies ever. It was always on when I was having the hardest time in school. Legally Blonde itself is surprisingly accurate for a first-year law movie. It goes through the Socratic method, it goes through the clickiness, the expectation of knowledge, how to logically analyze a case, how to have debates in class. I think Legally Blonde is the gold standard for legal or law school movies. I'm sorry, forever the best movie ever.
How do you get into law school?
Good undergrad grades, you get a good LSAT score, and you write a personal statement.
You take the LSAT. From there, you apply, you write your personal statement, and then you wait.
You have to be able to say okay, these are the schools within my scope.
Yeah.
This is where I know I can apply.
Right,
So you
have to be a realist.
You gotta keep adjusting your expectations. Some people, they really psych themselves out, which I say, have faith in yourself.
Yeah, don't let yourself get paralyzed.
Why does it appear as though certain people get a worse sentencing than others? Can you shed some light? That is for a multitude of reasons. A specific sentence is never guaranteed for a crime. It's generally a range. Different state laws have different ranges for the same crime. Federal has different laws than state. And there still is some implicit bias in our legal system that I think a lot of us are working to try and get out. But it exists.
It's also an unfortunate truth that it's how much does your lawyer cost and how much you're willing to pay somebody as well.
Having the ability to pay for representation, it shouldn't be that way in our criminal justice system, but a lot of times it is.
I will say though, our public defenders really do a great job with what they have.
Have you ever been arrested? No, I have not been arrested.
No.
Yes, I have. I got pulled over for my license plate being out. It was 2:30 in the morning. I had something to drink. I passed all those
sobriety tests.
And then he searched my car illegally, which I now know thanks to law school. He found my acceptance letter into law school in the driver's seat during that illegal search. And he was like, well, You're starting law school in a month. I'm gonna take you in because you're obviously drunk, but I'm gonna charge you with driving with defective equipment. So it cost me more to get my car out of impound than for me to get out of jail.
How do I prepare for a consultation with a lawyer? That is a very smart question. The more prepared you are going into that consultation, the more money you'll likely save. Come with all of the facts that you have, the background of the situation, and any documentation or evidence that helps promote your side of the case, and anything that might help promote the other side. That way I can kind of review everything holistically and at least make a good game plan.
Don't lie. So many people, I go in there and they have like their own version of the story. If you're deposing a client and they keep telling you a different story, it's hard for us to present something.
Do a lot of research, see if you can get a free consultation first and foremost.
Yeah, the lawyer's probably gonna try and give you some kind of realistic expectation.
Yeah.
Stick to your story, but be willing to negotiate.
Yeah.
Do you think your job is rewarding enough for all of the work you put in? I just graduated, and technically
I just graduated too,
I am
so
not
unemployed.
Overall, yeah, I do. I put in long days, long hours. I work in-house and still somehow manage to work weekends and at the dog park and in the middle of mosh pits. But I have some really great coworkers who, to say thank you at the very least or recognize that they see the work, I'm gonna cry. That really does help, so.
I don't think the work that I do is that significant. I'm not saving lives or saving people's homes, but I do find it rewarding in my own right. I work at an agency. We have clients who work jobs. I've definitely looked at their contracts, redlined, reviewed them. And
honestly, like I know that the entertainment industry seems like kind of a joke, but there are a lot of people who work here and who need legal services and legal help.
For me, it's a lot of teaching. So most of our clients see a contract, like, do I just sign it? I'm like, well, let's go ahead and look at it first. Do you think going to law school was worth it for you?
Yes. I can definitively say that it was the best decision that I've ever made. It's gratifying.
Yeah. Ooh, good answer.
I'm going to go with yes. For what I do now, I'm not an actual practicing litigator, so I don't actually need to be barred. I've also had a boss who's above me who was not a lawyer at all, didn't even go to law school. That's called business and legal affairs.
I'm gonna say I don't know yet. Still
go
class of 2015, so still working in my career. I am in a barred position. I'm a staff attorney. It's a lot of work. It's really rewarding. I actually really do like my job. I just, today's the day my student loan debits. Those days can be harder than others.
Hopefully we were able to clear up any burning questions, misconceptions, anything that you have about law school.
My personal law school experience was a lot of ups and downs.
Law school gave me more confidence than anything.
Yeah. Think about the bigger picture. Think what you want to do with it. Make sure it's where your heart really is, because it's a lot of work and a lot of money. It's not as terrible as everyone says it is either. Law school.